Connie, is everybody in yet?
Everybody that's with us is in.
All right, excellent. Do you want to let everybody know that we are recording this webinar, so it will be available afterwards for team members that have not been able to join us. So welcome everybody and congratulations. You are part of the 2023 First Nations Launch Competition, and we are excited to have you and can't wait to get this year's competition kicked off. And I'm really excited. So we have quite a bit of information to go over in our hour with you. So we're going to probably go quickly and hopefully have a little bit of time at the end for questions. And so during this webinar, what we will be going over is welcome and introductions, competition overview, reports and scoring, prizes and awards, recruitment, resources, reimbursements, the patch contest, and I am FNL. So what I'd like to do is begin with who is our team. Some of you may have joined us for our information meetings, and others of you may not have been able to attend. So just want to go through and introduce those of us that are able to be on the call today, so you have a chance to meet everybody. As I said, I am Christine Bowles. I'm the Assistant Director for the Wisconsin Space Grant Consortium and the Program Director for First Nations Launch. My boss, Kevin Crosby, the Director of the Space Grant, will be with us on competition weekend. However, he was unable to be here today. I will let the rest of our team go ahead and introduce themselves.
Bonjour, everybody. Good evening. Hello, I'm Courtney Kadolf. I'm the First Nations Launch Project Coordinator, and I'm really excited to work with you all. Thank you for coming tonight.
Hi, everybody. I'm Connie Engberg, and I'm a project support assistant. I will be sending you lots of emails and trying to answer your questions, and you'll be submitting your documents to me. And during this meeting, if you could please in the chat next to your name, tell us what school you're from. That would be helpful to us as well. Thank you very much.
And then not Anna, actually, Courtney, can you just pull over Megan, who's sitting right behind you, and let her introduce herself?
Here she goes.
Her thing out of the shadows. It's Megan.
Hi, everybody. I'm Megan Galler. I'm the accounts assistant for the Wisconsin Space Grant Consortium. I do help out with First Nations Launch, particularly with reimbursements. So for travel reimbursements and project expenses as well. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. And then our First Nations Launch admin team is how we refer to them, and they are professionals that are assisting with the day-to-day activities of the program. Frank?
Greetings, everyone. Welcome back if you're a returning team, and welcome new teams. Name is Frank Noble. I'm the FNL technical advisor and Tripoli launch coordinator, where you're going to be launching at Richard Bong, and I will be coordinating the launches and coordinating your possibly your builds if required.
Mark?
Ani, my name is Mark Abataswe. I am Ojibwe First Nation. I am a structures engineer with the Blue Origin out in Seattle on the New Shepard rocket program. And I handle most of the engineering content, the handbook and the reports. And then I also provide engineering support. I think the slide needs an update, team. To Blue Origin, but yeah, so glad that everyone's here, especially the new teams, new advisors, new team leads. If you have any questions, concerns getting up to speed, there's a lot to learn with First Nations Launch rocketry and the challenge. Please reach out to me.
Thank you, Mark. And then on the bottom of the slide, not with us today, we do have additional help from our Tripoli Rocketry Association, Bob Justice. He typically will attend our Launch to Learn events, and he will be at launch weekend and our safety meetings. And then Kevin Harnick is launch day at our rocket workshops and out at the launch site. Do we have any judges on the line today? I'll let you introduce yourselves if you're on. It sounds like silence. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce them. And if they happen to hear their name and pop on. Oh, who do we have joining us?
Hey, Christine, this is Joe Conley at the NASA Glenn Research Center, and I've been helping out as a judge for the past few years. My apologies, I can only join by phone this afternoon, but looking forward to meeting everyone. And if there's any questions or ways I can help, happy to help out any way possible.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe. And we are glad that you're able to be with us. And that will be something that some of you will experience throughout the competition. Some of our professionals, when they are at work and they are volunteering to help our program, they are only allowed to be in audio and they can't be in visual. So that's why he's joining us on the phone. Is there anybody else joining us today?
Yes, hi. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Orson John. I'm at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center and I've been with the program a few years as a judge. So looking forward to serving again this year.
And Orson will also serve as one of our guest hosts for one of our webinars coming up in which one? Orson? Project management? Yeah, project management. So we look forward to having you back in that capacity as well. Any other judges?
Hey guys, it's Aaron Ashley. I'm from Raytheon Technology System Safety Engineer, Dakota, Omaha. I've been involved in judging an admin team for First Nations launch for about 4 years, and then did it as a student previously. Good to see you all.
Thank you, Aaron, and we are glad to have you come back. Aaron helps a lot with Launch to Learn. He's at the ACES conference with us, so and then we'll be at competition weekend as well. Anybody else? All right, missing then, who were unable to join us, we do have James Wood, Osage Nation. He is from Kennedy Space Center. He is the Chief Launch Engineer, and he will serve as one of our judges. Aaron Yazzie, Navajo from JPL, NASA JPL, and Lauren Denson, also from JPL. Then with the United States Air Force, Hidea Star Eagle will be joining us, and also assisting from Raytheon is Genevieve Benali, and from Arcadis, Jennifer Bennett, and from the Boeing company, Sean Osserman. So we are pleased that we have a great group of professionals that assist us and help make this program just everything that it is. So who is part of the competition this year? So I do want you to know that you all have been selected to be part of the program, and you submitted your notice of intent prior to that first deadline that was due. We also will be accepting other applicants for the Gateway Challenge up through December. And so we will have a few more folks that we know of joining our competition. So for the Gateway Challenge, we have Honolulu Community College. We welcome them as a first-time team. It's pretty exciting. We're glad to have them. Lakudere Ojibwe University and Nuweta Hidatsa. Both of the latter two teams are returning. Then for our Moon Challenge, this is a full a full plate or a full roster. And Courtney, can you please monitor the chat for me? I saw a hand go up, so can you just make sure that that's being monitored? So for the Moon Challenge, our novice teams will be Carthage College, New Mexico State University, and the University of Wisconsin-Madison. That are returning teams, the University of Colorado Boulder, Fond du Lac Community College, Fort Lewis College, Northern Oklahoma College, Northwest Indian College, Turtle Mountain Community College, and United Tribes. So glad to see many teams returning. It's been a couple of years since COVID, and we're just really excited to have you back participating this year. Then for our Mars Challenge, we do have two brand new teams, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And that is Aaron Ashley's alma mater. So we're excited that he has been instrumental in helping them to join the competition, along with one of their mentors is a former Queen's University alum. And so also new is Oklahoma University. And again, this is the great, what I say great things about this program. We had 2 students from Northern Oklahoma College that have transferred over to OU and started a team. So it's pretty exciting. Also included will be UCLA, UW Seattle, Northern Arizona University, University of Hawaii Manoa, University of North Carolina Pembroke, and our international team, Queen's University. Oh, I have a blank screen and I'm not sure why. So here we go. Supplied by the space grant, by Wisconsin Space Grant to the teams. And what is it that we provide for you? And that would be $4,000 for project and travel award. And this will come out in your award letters, which are hopefully coming out within the next day or 2. And you can use that for reimbursements. Let me rephrase that. It can be a reimbursement issued to you individually or to the university. We have 2 deadlines for submission if it's for the individual, and that would be March 6th and May 8th. And we'll go over this a little bit later. Universities can bill on a quarterly system. And then there's also additional travel funds available depending on time zones / mileage, and we'll go over that in just a little bit. On launch competition weekend, we will provide up to 3 rooms and for 3 nights per team at the competition hotel. We have 2 hotels that we have secured, and we place individual teams based upon competition room, etc. So we provide 3 of those nights for you and 3 rooms. And then the last day, and this is an important date to get on your calendar now, February 27th, 2023, that will be the last day for you to secure lodging, and you will have a form that you need to submit. And that is so that we can ensure that you have a place to stay. It gets pretty crazy around Kenosha, Wisconsin, usually during that weekend. We've been in the NCAA playoffs for volleyball. And so we are all, often finding ourselves with a lot of people in town and making sure that everybody has hotels. So you want to make sure that you have your hotel list in for us. And then we have select meals that we do provide. So you'll have Friday breakfast, lunch, Saturday lunch, and dinner. So those will not need to be accounted for in your budgets. We will give each team a low power rocket. They will we'll send that out to you, and then you will do a demonstration flight. And new teams will also receive a launch pad. If you are an alum team, and you no longer have that launch pad, you need to let us know so that we can send you out one, and that would be to contact Connie. And then the flight demo deadline is January 23rd, 2023. Now, what I'm going to say to that is if you are a team that lives in a cold weather area, you want to try your hardest to get that done sooner than later, because we often find that it comes to January and teams are having a hard time getting it accomplished because of the weather. So make sure you plan accordingly. We give new schools 2 rocketry reference books. They're called Model Rocket Design and Construction and Modern High Power Rocketry 2. So keep those on your shelf because they're a great resource, and we find teams have often gone back to those books to just verify and check what is the next step and what do they need to be looking for. We give you ejection charges. We give you a rocket motor and a motor casing. And again, your motor selection will be due to us February 27th, that same day as that lodging list. And that's going to be important because once you make that motor selection, we're not unable to change it. And the reason why, we're looking at supply chain and making sure we get the rockets for everybody. So you'll be wanting to make sure that you do those rock simulations throughout the process, and those will be due, and we'll talk a little bit more about that a little later on. And then again, we'll give you report feedback. And so our goal is to provide that 1 week before you submit your next report. So you'll submit your report. We'll send it out to the judges. They're going to score them. They're going to give feedback, and then we're going to send that out to you so that you can implement any changes that need to be implemented or address anything that needed to be addressed from the last report. And then no report or no feedback will be given on the FRR. So optional resources available by WSGC to teams. So a couple of those things will be additional travel funds. So if you are a team that is in the Mountain, Eastern Pacific, Atlantic, and Hawaiian time zones, you have the option to apply for additional funding. That additional funding, so if it's based on one-way travel to Carthage from where you're at, and I think I have everybody accounted for. So you can have an additional $500 if you are 1,000 to 1,999 miles away. So basically Fort Lewis College, MIT, and NAU. If you are between 2,000 and 2,999 miles, we'll give you an extra $1,000 for your travel. So that would be Northwest Indian College, UCLA, and UW Seattle. And then if you are 3,000 plus miles, we will give you an additional $1,500. And so we'd be looking at University of Hawaii at Manoa and Honolulu Community College. Another resource that we have, and one of the things we encourage you to do is outreach. Talk a little bit more as we go through the slides, but we are offering an outreach kit for teams to perform or to host an outreach event for students. I believe it is, anyways, we'll go over it at the next slide or when the slide comes up, but you do have the option of receiving 15 low power rockets, which are valued at about $20 to $5 per rocket, and conduct an event based upon Reach for the Stars. And if you conduct that, then those students that are participating in that program have an opportunity to win a grand prize trip to Marshall Space Flight Center's the Space Rocket Visitor Center. I'm not sure what happened here, Courtney. We're missing some slides or they got duplicated along the way. So you might want to check on the back end, please.
I think it's just the way that it's transitioning, but I'll take that out when I edit it.
So additional non-FNL support. One of the things we get often asked is, is there a way to receive extra funding because this is it's going to take more than the $4,000, quote unquote, $4,000 that you provide for us. So here's a couple things that I want you to consider as you are putting together that budget. $4,000, spend your $4,000. That is your first primary budget revenue. Anything above and beyond that $4,000, you can seek outside funding, but we need you to spend your money. And that helps us to be able to continue our program because, they give us money to be able to run our competition and run our workshop. And so that's exactly what we want you to do is please utilize it for your team, for your travel, for your project, etc. But if you need additional support, here's some things to consider. Each state has a space grant consortium. If you are not connected with them yet, we want to encourage you to be connected, and we will be reaching out to them and saying, hey, this school has received funding and they may be seeking additional funding. And so at national.spacegrant.org, and if you could drop that into the chat, that would be great, Courtney. That's where you can find where your lead institution is and who is the individual that you need to connect with. They are really good about helping in any way that they can, helping you to get to the launch at competition weekend. Your academic institution, sometimes the institution has extra funding, can provide research scholarships, etc., for the students that are on the team. So that would be another organization to look for. Our student groups, and then industry. Industry may be willing to, provide t-shirts for you or, help you with your travel, maybe provide a stipend for your mentor, help you to get mobile tools so that you have battery operated hammer and Dremel and your drills and your screwdrivers and things that you'll need during launch weekend, a traveling toolbox, your safety equipment, your PPE. Maybe it's for you guys to have a launch to learn workshop at your institution. So outside of what we do, but another one. And then some of the certification fees that aren't provided by First Nations launch, maybe an outreach event, and then team shirts or even jackets. We've had teams that have secured outside funding for. Launch weekend is April 28th through the 30th. And you will arrive in Wisconsin on Thursday, April 27th. On Friday, we will kick off bright and early in the morning. So that is an 8 a.m. Show up and be ready to go have your running shoes on. We'll have a welcome breakfast, competition kickoff. We'll have a team work day, motor build workshop, breakout sessions, final safety inspections, oral presentations. We have a full day. It goes from 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. So it is a long, long, long day, but it is a fun and exciting and worthwhile day of events. Then on Saturday, we start again at 8 a.m. sharp with a kickoff and at Richard Bong Recreational Park in Kansasville, Wisconsin. And we have a closing banquet at Carthage College where we give out our many awards, not all awards, but we give out many of the awards, and we will have a special guest speaker, which I will announce in just a little bit. And then on Sunday is our rain date. So if you're planning on your travel, we want you to make sure that you have plenty of time if it rains on Saturday and we have to launch on Sunday, that you can still launch your rocket. So keep that in mind as you're making travel plans. Then we have our timetable. What are some of the key things coming up? And on our website, we do have our calendar. You can see that URL tiny up in the top, and Courtney's going to put that in the chat for you. But coming up in the next several weeks, we are looking at a proposal budget and design review development webinar next week. And that will be hosted by Genevieve Benali from Raytheon. So you don't want to miss it. All of the webinars are at 4 p.m. on Tuesdays. We will record them. We will make them available. But when you listen to a recording, you don't have the live interaction with our experts and our team to be able to answer questions. So we ask that each team has at least one person show up for the webinars. And then you'll see we have many other things. We'll have award acceptance due in 2 weeks. We have structures webinar, project management webinar, ROCSIM webinar, your proposal, preliminary budget, and fly sheet. And ROCSIM will be due on December 12th. Then again, we have one more build and assembly techniques webinar, and that will be it for December. And then again, as we go along, we'll continue to highlight, but make sure that you are connecting with that calendar and you know what is next. And again, just a high level, a quick overview of what is on the schedule for the winter/spring. And one of the things to note are the virtual presentations. Those do take place in the evening, and we schedule teams for 20-minute sessions to present their reports. Key changes for 2023. We have Gateway Challenge started last year. So for those of you just returning, that is something new. We have webinars. So all variety of webinars that we provide in our hopes to help educate you so that you will be successful in your participation in First Nations launch. We are really working hard to make it that there is not a single team that needs to withdraw from the competition because of challenges that are impossible to overcome. We're trying to do everything we can to make it possible for you to get to that launch pad. So additional funding, as we talked about, for certain time zones, mileage. We have handbook appendices at the end that we need, that are available for you for more information. So please look at the competition handbook. And that is, the holy grail that you're going to want to go by for knowing everything about the competition. That we have that TRA and NAR mentor requirement. ROCSIM, the reimbursement process is pretty much the same. However, we have a new key contact for those of you returning, and that's Megan, and we'll go over again a little bit. We have our training videos, and we have new awards. So top advisor, top team lead, rookie team. And one of the things that's not on here would be for those of you who are used to having 2 motors, this year we will have 1 motor available for each team. So COVID, we know that for most of us, we're kind of getting back into a normal routine and not necessarily having to think what's our second strategy for COVID. However, being a NASA program, we are asking that in your proposal and in every report, we do want to see a COVID-19 safety plan. So if for any reason we need to make an adjustment on the fly, that you are going to be able to continue on in the competition. So what is a local launch site? Please find that. And Mark will be able to help you if you can't, but we want to know if you have the ability to launch locally and what that's going to look like. We want to make sure you have the local mentor, and then also that you are connected to a local EEE Rocketry Association or National Association of Rocketry Prefecture. The thing to remember, if you submitted an NOI with Frank or Mark as your mentor, that is something that we will be looking to change and help you find somebody that is more local to you. And for teams within Wisconsin, we have additional folks that are able to assist with the needs here in our state. So one of, we are going to follow launch site protocol, Carthage College protocol. I don't foresee this happening still, but we are, we always have in the back of our mind if we need to go to a virtual or a hybrid, and having that backup plan for the program. So making sure that, as you're thinking about your safety plans, utilize your team structure for assignments, have weekly virtual meetings if you need to, if somebody gets sick, has COVID, can't be in the group for quarantine time, have an online lab or logbook, and if there is limited lab access. So have that backup plan. So again, that you can be successful. All righty, Frank.
Hey, hi. Gateway design objectives. Teams are required to design and construct a dual deploy high power rocket from the following list. You have two choices. You have a mad cow 4-inch diameter Super DX3 kit, which is a heavy duty cardboard kit. And you have the mad cow 4-inch diameter fiberglass Super DX kit, which is a fiberglass G12 type kit with G10 fins. The team shall select one of the rockets listed in the handbook. The team shall select one of the motors listed in the handbook also. The rocket shall reach an altitude of 2,500 on the selected motor they decide to pick. The team rocket shall satisfy all the requirements as outlined in this handbook. The team does not need to write reports, but are required to submit a fly sheet at the PDR, the CDR, and the FRR, which will be available to you, I believe, on the web. Isn't that correct? Okay, next slide.
Yes, that is correct.
The Gateway flight profile, which you can see, all three flight profiles are just about the same on between the Gateway, Moon, and Mars, but there's different altitudes. So the Gateway challenge, of course, you have the liftoff, power ascent, coast ascent, and you have a drogue apogee at the 2,500 foot altitude, AGL. And during descent, you shall deploy a main chute no less than 300 feet above ground. And touchdown, and each rocket shall have a some kind of RF device or locating device to locate your project. The Moon design objectives: design, test, and fabricate specific structural design components. The nose cone, the shoulder of the nose cone, bulkheads and centering rings, fins, avionics sled. The focus on material science, fabrication, understanding material properties and strengths. Team shall design all rockets for an expected apogee of 3,000 feet to 4,000 feet AGL. And of course, you must have a tracking device on this rocket also. The Moon flight profile kind of reflects the last one, except for the altitude is different. You must obtain a top altitude of 4,000 feet and no less than 3,000 feet AGL. As you can see, we have power liftoff, power ascent. We have the coast time to apogee, and after apogee or at apogee, the drogue chute comes out, and a main chute should come out no less than 300 feet before landing. And also, like I mentioned before, a tracking device is required. Mars design objective. Select a base dual deploy kit from your pre-selected list. Design, test, and fabricate all structural dual deploy rocket components of this particular model, which will be the airframe, which is the body tube, couplers and internal tubes, nose cones, and the shoulders of the nose cones, bulkheads and centering rings, fins, and the avionics sled. Utilize the COTS, which is commercial off-the-shelf motor mount tube, must always be used in all your projects. No homemade motor mounts, please. Motor tubes, I should say. Select a motor from those listed in our handbook. Design their rockets for an expected apogee of 3,500 feet to 4,000 feet AGL. As I said, the flight profile is the same. We have liftoff, ascent, power ascent, the coast, and of course the apogee will be at 4,000 feet. And we'll incorporate the dual deploy, which is the drogue chute, and the main chute, no less than 300 feet. And you must maintain a minimum of 3,500 feet AGL on your project. And upon landing, always use your tracking devices or your eyeballs. And team spirit should always watch where that rocket lands. Safe and successful flight. Safe flight must achieve a launch, stable vertical flight during ascent. Recovery systems must be successfully deployed, which means the drogue and the main. Rocket must be recovered in flyable conditions, should not show any kind of damage. Flyable conditions constitutes that the rocket can be loaded with a motor and flown again safely.
It's still you, Frank.
Oh, okay, sorry. All teams must follow all requirements of the competition handbook. The following is a subset of these requirements. All projects during the construction process must have a minimum of one scheduled virtual inspection with the design safety officer to be announced. I'll be one of them. All projects must be 90% constructed and ready to fly 2 weeks prior to launch date. 90% equals airframe, motor mount, fins, payload, airframe, coupler, bulkheads should be permanently attached and ready to fly. All projects must be designed to enable the motor deployment charge as a backup recovery system at apogee. All final competition projects must have a documented flight, stable rock sim simulation profile. Photographs are required during the construction of the motor mount and fin fillets assembly process to ensure proper construction techniques have been adhered. All projects must have an aerodynamic design. No odd rockets. Note: no flying saucers, no flying pyramids, saucers, or spools. The center of pressure, which is called the CP, and the center of gravity, which is called the CG, must be indicated on the rocket and labeled. Quality and timing completion of program milestone. See the program milestone section in the handbook. Success of competition flight, recorded altitude and the competition flight, recorded pre-flight, mass and rocket airframe, excluding electronics, parachute recovery, equipment, motors, and miscellaneous hardware components. The team's rocket shall be compared against a reference kit built by Tripoli Rocketry to determine the percentage of mass reduction achieved. Dimensions of the rocket. The teams shall be compared against the reference kit built by Tripoli Rocketry to determine the accuracy. Highly recommended. Although not required, teams should plan to complete a full-scale flight test prior to launch weekend. Firstly, teams should plan to complete various small-scale flight tests to validate component functionality. Mark, are you next?
Great,
Yeah, all
Mark.
right, hey, everyone. So we'll go quick here for the sake of time. I don't think we still have twice as many slides to go through. So your scoring overview, right? So you're going to submit 5 written reports over the course of the competition. Your reports are listed there. You can see the calendar for the deadlines and due dates of those reports. Each report carries equal weight, and each report builds on the previous report. So this is important. I'd like to point this out for the new teams. If you kind of skip on an earlier report, it's harder to build and catch up on later reports. So start with your proposal. Let's do it in a few weeks, and make sure you guys put in the time and understand what's required for that proposal. You have 2 virtual presentations with the judges where we give you real-time feedback. Those virtual presentations are basically just a summary of those reports. So you'll summarize your PDR written report in one presentation, and then you'll summarize your CDR in another presentation. Your flight and payload performance are scored, of course, on launch day. Keep in mind that late reports are docked 20% per day. So it's better to get your report in. If you're going to be late, it's okay. Just get it in on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, get it into Friday. Even if you don't get it in on Friday, still get it in so we can get you the feedback and help you improve your report and your design for the next cycle. Keep in mind there's outreach, there's bonus points for outreach, up to 10 bonus points. And I think we have a slide to cover that later on. Challenge changes. So for this year, new for this year, our challenges kind of build off of each other. And this kind of allows teams to move between challenges, especially the new teams who come into Gateway. You'll find it easier to move up to Moon. And then the Moon teams may find it easier to move up to Mars, or if Mars teams are struggling, they can move back down to the Moon challenge. The challenges are very similar to each other. So while you're looking at your challenge, make sure to just review the other challenges as well to see, but maybe if you want to move up or down in your level, if you're more suited to a particular challenge. We may also make suggestions after proposals based on your school's capability, your rocketry experience, your advisor's experience, if we feel that you're better suited in a different challenge or different competition. FNL website, we now have a series of videos, instructional videos, and there's the link there. I think maybe if Courtney puts that link in the chat as well, feel free to go check those out. And it covers kind of just rocketry 101. It covers a little bit of rock sim, a little bit of recovery, a little bit of avionics. Explains a little bit more about high-powered rocketry if you're new to high-powered rocketry. Also new this year, we mentioned only one competition motor provided per team on launch day. And then new awards this year, we have top advisor, top team lead. The chat box is in the way. There we go. Rookie team, and reach for the stars. Next. So written design reviews. And if you want to learn more about the written design reviews, come to the webinar next week. That's the webinar that'll talk a little more detail about our design reports. So basically, your design review is to communicate the engineering design effort to the admin team and to our panel of engineering judges. So you're basically comparing your predicted performance to your actual performance. So you'll start with a RockSim simulation. So hopefully your teams have already reviewed RockSim. We also have a RockSim webinar coming up in a few weeks where we'll kind of point out the key aspects of RockSim that help you with your design. Reports are due. See the calendar, see the competition handbook. Your reports make up a huge portion of your overall score, 75%. And this is kind of because the reports take a lot of time. So we want to reward you for that time. There are report templates. So feel free to go to the website and look for your report templates at each milestone. At proposal, you'll look for the proposal template. It's a Word document, and it's just plug and chug, fill in the blanks, and get that information to us. So it helps now, even ahead of time, kind of review those templates so you know what you're designing to, all the things that you need to assign to different members of your team to have those finished and have a nice polished report at each cycle. Design review webinar, like we said, is that November 8th? Is that the right date on there? Yeah, I think that's the right date. Yeah, next week. Okay, so yeah, come to that. You'll learn a little bit more detail about the reports and the reviews that the team does. And also note that gateway teams do not submit any of the written reports. They only submit the fly sheets and do the virtual presentations. All right, fly sheets. So this is for all teams, including the gateway teams. Teams are required to submit a fly sheet at each cycle, starting with the proposal, PDR, CR, FR, so not at post-launch. And then the template for those fly sheets is found also on the website. There's the link. I hopefully the students are getting this document or the links are going in the chat. And then basically the fly sheet is a summary of your rocketry performance. Most of the things that are covered in the fly sheet, I think we have a screenshot of it coming up next. So you fill out your fly sheet after your report is complete, but it's basically a summary of the rocket performance. And the rocket performance all basically comes from your RockSim data. So you can see a kind of example fly sheet. This is for proposal. Note that the grade areas at proposal stage, you do not have to turn in, or you do not have to fill out the grade out areas. Those will be at each progressive milestone. You'll fill out more and more of the fly sheet before you submit it. But you can see the vehicle properties and the motor properties. We want you to understand those at proposal stage and explain those to us when you submit that in your report. Next. And then virtual design reviews. Like we mentioned, you do 2 virtual design reviews with the panel of judges. It's basically where you summarize and present your written design report. Again, there will be a PowerPoint template provided on the website for you. I believe it consists of 10 slides and kind of just hits the highlights of, describe your rocket vehicle structure, describe your recovery, components, describe your electronic components, describe your performance parameters. Talk to us a little bit about RockSim, your simulations, and what you expect your vehicle to do. So we want every team member to participate in the presentations. Gather your team around and for that presentation. New this year, the presentations are limited to 20 minutes. For the returning teams, I believe we had 30 minutes in the past, so we're kind of tightening it up a little bit. So just for the sake of time, as we grow the number of teams, and then we'll have the judges have questions for the last 3 to 5 minutes. So you're going to try and wrap up your presentation in the first 8 to 10 minutes and allow the remaining presentations. So that even accounts for just getting your presentation set up properly. So maybe, consider calling in, 5 minutes early, make sure your audio and your video works, make sure your presentation is ready to go. And hopefully we'll cover that again when we get closer to the presentations. And then each team is given a presentation slot. Are they voting on those, Connie, Christine, or you just assign those now?
I typically, the first run through will give people some parameters and let them have some say in it. And then once that schedule is set for that first virtual, then we go with that for future virtuals.
There you have it. Next. And then flight readiness review. So this is a little bit of Frank, similar to your design reviews. So this takes place at your final milestone, basically your flight readiness report. You will present, is this what we're talking about, the launch safety, or is this talking about? Oh no, this is, okay, so your flight readiness review is on launch weekend. So this is kind of your in-person presentation to give, very similar to your PDR and CDR. So if you kind of dial those in and you got those down pat, your flight readiness is given on launch weekend. It's just kind of a final summary of your overall presentation prior to launch weekend, or basically the day before your competition launch, you'll give that presentation. However, and this is standard, we've done this every year, that presentation is limited to 15 minutes. So judges will only ask questions, judges only will ask questions following the presentation. So the last 3 to 5 minutes. So you want to wrap those up in the first 10 minutes.
I would say 6 to 8 minutes presentation with 3 to 5 minutes of questions, giving 5 minutes for scoring to be completed.
So you want to practice that presentation and make sure you got it down. You will be docked for time. If you run long, we're gonna take points off your presentation. So again, competition scoring, we said your reports make up 75% of your overall score. You can see right there, your 5 written reports and your 2-3 presentations. Launch weekend presentation is 5 points overall. And then your launch weekend mission performance and your challenge is 20 points overall, making up 100 points. And then there's also 10 additional points that can be made during the outreach event.
So for the competition award prizes, this is really exciting. So we have our grand champions. They are the top winners. They receive $3,000 with an invitation to a NASA center. Typically that is Kennedy Space Center next week. We will be taking last year's winners and the 2021 winners to Kennedy for a two-day tour. So we're really excited about that. Second place, $2,000, and third place receives $1,000. One of the things to remember is that your teams can be comprised of people from various areas. So we give out an aesthetic award. Which team has the coolest looking rocket? And that is voted on by fellow team or the competitors. Team Spirit Award, who is chosen by their peers as the team that shows interactive spirit, helpfulness, and cooperation. We have an Altitude Award. We have a Judges Award, a Next Step Award. And the Next Step Award is we select a team to go on to the student launch initiatives in the following year. And then also at Marshall Space Flight Center, and one team to participate in Rock On at Wallops Flight Facility. An Outreach Award, for those teams that submit an outreach project, they will be considered for the top award, and that top award awardee will receive $500 to be used for future outreach initiatives on their campus. We have a patch design that receives $100, a team advisor stipend. So every one of our advisors can earn up to $1,000 for their participation in the program. And then we will have a new award this year, our top advisor, top team lead, and a rookie team award. So if you're thinking about how many people do we need, we say the sweet spot's 4 to 6 team members, but with First Nations launch, you can have less, you can have more. If you have less, there's going to be a lot more work that is thrown on each individual. So we strongly encourage you to think about who are the other people that we can have on our team. So you have your advisor, you have a mentor, you have your team lead. Typically, you'll have somebody to take care of safety. You'll have somebody that may take care of the airframe, the avionics, the recovery, maybe a simulations lead, a payload lead. If you're trying to find maybe people outside of the STEM majors, maybe you want to have somebody who can do your finance and your budgeting and procurement, somebody who can do the designing of the exterior of the rocket. So those are things to think about. Meetings and telecons for assistance we'll have, and we want to focus on, this is a student project, and so this is not a project for your advisors to complete on your behalf or to write your reports, but it truly needs to be student generated. For new schools and new advisors, if you would like to be, you can reach out to Mark, and Mark would be happy to pair you up with one of our veteran advisors. And then Mark will also give you additional support throughout this competition year. Team lead, you will be expected to be at the meetings and telecons, and if you can't be, to have somebody there in your absence. You also are responsible for making sure that all communications and documents get disseminated to your entire team, and not just to you and your advisor. Recruitment. I know this is always a challenge of finding members to be a part of the team. As we were looking through and the number of folks that you put on your NOI, many of you are below 6 team members. So here's some ideas. You can coordinate a 5 to 10 minute presentation in classrooms, at club meetings on your campus. Maybe hold a virtual recruiting event, maximum, a 20-minute presentation. Maybe invite an FNL alumni to attend, either from your institution, maybe a returning team member. Maybe ask one of us to say, hey, would you mind coming to a Zoom meeting so that you can tell a little bit more about the program and show that excitement. Tap into new applicant pools. Use Launch to Learn. We have a virtual workshop coming up in January. Use that. Host an event with Estes rockets and have a rocket launch, and then folks can build those rockets, launch them, and then possibly become part of your teams. If you have other ideas, please feel free to share those in the chat. Training video series, Mark commented about this a little bit earlier. We do have a 6-series video series that's on the website. Courtney will put that in the chat for you. The link, we have an overview. We have, it tells you about the competition, avionics, recovery systems, rocket assembly, rock sim, and then range and motor safety. They're great. They're all about 10 minutes and quick to go through and a great resource for you. Launch to Learn workshop. Some of you have already attended the one at Carthage College last weekend. For those of you who haven't, and you still have an opportunity to sign up by December 16th. And it is a 2-day, on that one, it is a 2-day rocket build, and you will receive a level 1 certification. And we provide all the materials, the supplies, and it's a great opportunity. So please check that out and look at it. And we just, like I said, it's one of the, I think one of the best components of this competition. Courtney, if you could put that in the chat as well. And then outreach, we talked about that Reach for the Stars National Rocket Competition. I know AIAA and some other organizations work in conjunction with Reach for the Stars. And it really is our goal to promote STEM, right? Beyond just in the college campus. We understand that reaching down to the K-12 really has a great benefit. So Reach for the Stars is specific to 10 to 18-year-olds. And if you would, I didn't put a date on here, so I do need to send that out. But if you are interested in Reach for the Stars, please let us know, and then we'll coordinate with that program to get your kits sent out so that you can conduct that outreach. You do not have to do Reach for the Stars. You can do any type of event that you want. There is an outreach form that we ask that you fill out per outreach event that you do, so that we have the information, because of course we tell NASA who you're reaching out to, what you're doing, and again, that is part of what will make you qualify for that $500 prize during the banquet night. Team scheduling guidance, create a project schedule. You know, Gantt chart's great, Excel spreadsheet, whatever it takes for your team to be successful. The schedule will assist you to have a safe and successful flight. It will help you to coordinate your entire team so everybody knows what they're doing and when. You encourage you to update it regularly so that you can anticipate schedules when you need to. So if you know that you have to have the proposal due in 2 weeks, what are you doing now to prepare for that proposal to be due? Are you doing research on kits, etc.? So you can get that all set up. Include your all phases, your concept, preliminary, design, flight readiness. All that should be a part of that, that scheduling. And then you can include purchasing, build deadlines, report deadlines, travel deadlines, all of that in that project scheduling. And then we do have a project management webinar on November 22nd, which Orson John will be hosting. Competition weekend, couple things that we're looking for, but we want to also tell you about. Welcome breakfast. So we are looking for a team to host our icebreaker. And so last year, University of Hawaii at Manoa, they taught us all how to do the hula. That was something cultural that they brought that we could participate in. The last time we were meeting in person before that was College of Menominee Nation, and they also brought a game with sticks and dice that we all participated on, and we moved from table to table. So we're looking for a team that would be willing to do that. If you are interested, either put it in the chat or send us a note, and we would love to try to get you set up to do that. We have special guest, Brett Benali Thompson. He is the ACES tribal elder. He has been with us for several years, and he helps bring in that cultural component during our launch weekend, and we are always so grateful for him coming. Captain Hidea Star Eagle from the U.S. Space Force. I have seen her. She has joined us since we began the webinar. She will be our plenary speaker this year. We are so excited to have her, and she also is one of our judges. And then during Friday at the competition weekend, Friday afternoon, we will have our professionals that will be leading breakout sessions. So we are going to close down the workshop and have those breakout sessions for you. And so we have a great panel of people that will be coming and joining us for that that afternoon. The rocket workshop, This used to be a 2-day workshop, but we know that you guys are going to come with your rockets 99% ready to fly. That means only minor fixes once you get on site. And so 99% ready to fly and half day. So keep that in mind as you plan for Friday. The breakout sessions, as I said, will have special topics. They could be from 30 to 60-minute presentations. And I guess I put special topics in twice. And then we'll have a rocket fair at the end. So all the teams will bring their rockets out, completed, ready to go before they start the oral presentations. And we'll be able to go around, see all the rockets at one time. You'll be able to go talk with other teams, seeing everybody in that final stage before presentation. I have 4 minutes. I got to hurry here. Tools and tip, FNL website. You can see here a list of areas that you can go to find different things that you're interested in or you need more information. It's a wealth of knowledge. Under our tools and tips page, it has changed a little bit for those returning. We now have accordions. So you'll see FNL resources, but under that FNL resources, you'll have media release form, team bio form, team roster, etc. So Courtney, just keep putting those links in the chat, please. And Mark. We have 7 more slides.
Oh, one more slide. So advisory support, advisory liaison is one of my primary roles. I also help manage and facilitate, recruit the judges that are reviewing your reports and scoring. So just want to point out, right, I'm an alumni for the competition.
Your audio, Mark.
Let me kill this. Try this. How's that? Is that better?
Yep. Yes. Thank you.
Just to get through this slide. So like I said, I'm an alumni of the competition. So I've been there as a student, so I know what the students are going through. Haven't been an advisor yet, but I'm also an engineer, and I'm here to support the new teams and the new advisors and the returning advisors as well as things change. Retention and recruiting, so it can give you help about how to retain your students and how to recruit more students and how to grow the team. I've been on multiple teams. I was on the NASA student launch team, and I've mentored the Spaceport America Cup teams. Advisor mentorship, like we mentioned, we can pair you up with a veteran advisor or an advisor who's no longer with the competition to help get you that experience and point you in the right direction. Outreach efforts. So like I said, we've spent some time on that. If you have any suggestions, questions, or concerns about outreach or ideas that you want to run by me, I can also help you with that. Next step opportunities and others, like we said, we can provide support, or I can provide support for NASA SLI and Spaceport America Cup teams, if that's something that you think your school and your team is ready for. Oh, mentors. All right, so team, TRA, and our mentors. So each team requires a faculty advisor, which you should have because you submitted the NOI and the advisor would have filled it out in order to be here. However, some of you do not have a rocketry mentor. And this is usually because you're a new team or you're unfamiliar with what a rocketry mentor is. There is a webinar that we did last week on rocketry mentors and what they are and how to get one for your team. So please check out the tools and tips page on the WSGC website and get a little more information about your rocketry mentor. So one of my roles, again, is to help your teams get a mentor. So I've reached out to some of the advisors already. If you don't have a mentor, I'll be reaching out to you shortly to help you get a mentor. Your mentor must be rocketry experienced. They must be an active EEE or NAR member, so make sure that they paid their dues and they're currently active. We need their membership number. Certified at or above the level of your team rockets. Your competition rockets will be level 2 or higher. And then local to the team with access to a certified launch site. So if you want to do the ground tests, you want to do ejection tests or any kind of structural tests, it's good to have a local launch site nearby. And then the mentor does not need to attend launch weekend. And they can if they want. I know some teams bring their mentors with them. So like I said, I'll help you find the mentor and see the mentorship webinar for more information.
So WSGC reimbursements, there's 2 ways. When you receive your award letter, you can choose to have the reimbursements submitted through your college or university, or you can select to have reimbursements done through individuals. If it's through the university, we will ask that you do quarterly invoicing by your institution. And if it's individuals, it would be submitted March 6th or May 8th. And you can submit digital receipts. And we can walk you through that, but Megan Goller is the individual that you are going to want to send them to. Under tools and tips, you will see all of the forms and instructions, and you can click on any of those and find that information. And Courtney will again put that in the chat for you. And this is what the forms look like for the individual travel expense forms for reimbursement. Patch contest coming up. We'll announce this in just a couple of weeks. And we ask that individuals or teams, however you want to do it, submit a drawing, a rendition of what you think best showcases our competition this year. So again, we're structures and you are trying to make that lightweight version of a rocket. And so we will take those submissions up through February 20th. We have a panel that will judge them, and then we will select one of those patches to be the patch for the 2023 14th annual First Nations launch competition. Any of your teams are welcome to make an IMFNL video clip, just showcasing what you're doing on your team and what this has meant to you. Please send us your photos, tag them, hashtag IMFNL. You will be asked to upload 2 to 3 photos to your grant management page. Make sure that those pictures are up close and personal, just like I am right now, because if you're way back here, it's not very interesting, but we love to see people and what you're doing and love to see your faces and help that to tell the story of what's happening in First Nations launch. And with that, we are sorry we went 2 minutes over, but we are looking forward to the 2023 competition at Kansasville, Wisconsin, and at Carthage College. Questions and answers. And we understand some of you may need to leave. We understand. You always can reach out to us separately, but if you do have questions, our team is here to answer them for you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay. Helen Raposa from Honolulu Community College. I'm asking about the low power rocket. When it will be shipped to us, and what motors are we planning to use on these rockets?
So the low power is probably going to be shipped out. Connie, I think you're even working on them now. We talked about it today, so it's coming out shortly. And it's what a
B64.
B64.
Could we use a lower power motor like an A3 instead?
Frank?
In this particular rocket, AA what, AA3?
Yeah. Oh, first of all, what is the rocket? Is it an Alpha 3 or a Big Bertha?
Connie?
Oh, the little quest ones, right?
Yeah,
So,
Astra.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a very small rocket.
yeah, because the field that we launch from, an Astra on a B64 would probably take it out of the field. So if we could do it like an AA3, we could do that. But
You'll have to supply your own motor then.
yeah, not a problem with us.
We also have Blue Origin rockets this year.
Okay.
And we
Yeah,
haven't
that's right.
decided what we're doing with those yet.
Ah,
All right.
my bad, my
And
bad.
Helen, I'm sorry, what team are you with?
Honolulu Community College.
Okay. And
Yeah.
Kelly is familiar with the process over at Manoa.
No. We've seen other teams come by. We have witnessed these teams at the monthly launches at Wynwood Community College. So we
Okay.
know what's involved. But I'm just
Okay,
letting you
good.
know that field can only support flights up to 300 feet. No more higher than that. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Other questions?
Have we received the COTS kit rock sim files for each of the COTS kits that are required?
You have not. I'm looking at Mark's face.
When will we receive those?
Coming shortly.
Great,
We'll get
awesome.
them to you.
Thank you.
You're
That's a
welcome.
good answer, Mark.
Any other questions? I love it.
I
when
had
teams are on
one,
the
but I
ball.
think it was just kind of answered.
Sure.
One of my questions was, do we have to buy one of those 3 COTS kits? And 2 of them were not available to even view right now, like they're out of stock. So I think the website's down.
And what competition are you in,
Mars,
Mars? And what website were you looking at? The,
Mad Cow, like the links that were sent to us
yeah,
that are in the handbook. So 2 of the 3, like you can't even view them. It's
I
a
don't,
web page not available. So
I don't necessarily think you need to purchase the kit. I mean, you're trying to replicate the kit, right? So if you
Right.
think you could replicate it from simulation or online data, but also having the kit, you're more able to replicate the kit, but it's a kind of a cost versus, you know, can I get the kit? Can I afford to get the kit, or should I just try and replicate it with the data?
all right, and you won't be
Okay.
you won't be reimbursed for the kit either, is that correct, Christine?
No,
Well,
they should.
we don't get we don't get reimbursed
Yeah.
for anything in Canada.
Queen's University does not.
Oh,
and
that's
why
right.
one of the
That's
reasons
right.
why
The
they
issue for
asked.
us too might be getting it over the border, so that was like another consideration. But like, if we don't even have to buy it, then that kind of falls off the wayside. But you know, we've always bought our commercial off-the-shelf things from Canadian suppliers, so I have no experience getting stuff, getting an actual full kit over the border. So
And I think Mark can follow up with you specifically, Melanie, because I know you guys have different challenges being an international team versus here in the States. So if we need to, we can follow up with you on that too.
okay.
Well,
My
well,
second question was actually, are we, so I think we have 12 students on our team right now. And I think there's only space for me to have 10 on that notice of intent. Is that like, do we just not register some students or?
Well, I've never had a challenge of being over 10. So team lead can be put in the team lead
Is
spot,
1, yeah.
right? So you don't need to redo that one.
I'll take some of them.
Connie put that on our list to ask if we can add a couple more spots. And if not, send Connie, we'll follow up with it. We'll figure out if there's a workaround if we can't get a couple more spots added for you.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome.
So to follow on that, if I could, it's highly suggested the Moon teams buy the kit because you will be using the airframe. You are not fabricating an airframe. For the Mars teams, however, because they are fabricating everything, it's not really required for them to buy the kit. However, if you do struggle with fabricating a component such as an airframe or a fin or a nose cone, then you will need to buy those components and fly the COTS component. So hopefully that provides some clarity to all the teams about the Moon and Mars kits.
I have a question for the University of Washington. We have 2 graduate students that would like to serve kind of as mentors for us. Is it possible we can send one of the graduate mentors to the Launch to Learn?
So you have, we can accept up to 30 individuals into the virtual Launch to Learn workshop. Each school is allowed up to 3 individuals to apply. And then we'll have to go through and you know, if we have 45 individuals, we'll have to down select. But I would say pick your 3 individuals and put those 3 names forward, Scott.
Okay, so it doesn't matter if they're graduate students or not, and you know this is an undergraduate competition.
So, I mean, we often have we encourage advisors to attend, just as you have done in the past, a co-advisor. If there is, we've had graduate student mentors, one, you know, for a team, one graduate student mentor, the team lead, and another team member. So the primary focus is to get the team lead definitely certified if we can do that. Another team member if possible, and then a third person, somebody in that leadership role. That's the ideal.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question along the same lines. My name's Philip from the University of Oklahoma.
Yes.
I was in the Launch to Learn program last year. Can I substitute my team lead position to another student who's interested in the Launch to Learn?
Absolutely. So if you're on a team and your advisor's already been certified, you've been, you know, maybe the team lead's been certified or was a secondary member and so now is certified. absolutely replace those individuals with somebody else on the team. We're just, if you've not sent anybody ever to a Launch to Learn competition, we recommend, if the advisor doesn't have that rocketry background, to have the advisor, co-advisor attend, have the team lead attend, and then one other student who might then in future years come up and be a team lead, etc. So that's the recommendation. But yes, anybody can attend as long as it's limited to 3 individuals.
Okay, so I plan on the faculty advisor and maybe 2 other students.
Sounds good, Philip.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Yeah, Helen Raposa again from Honolulu Community College. I was just kind of wondering about the Gateway challenge. Why is it at 2,500 feet AGL, but not like say a range like the moon and Mars? No, like 50 feet plus or minus.
Frank and Mark, I'll let you address that.
The 2,500 foot is the top ceiling of your flight. And if you have a projected flight of, let's say, 25 to 23, what do you think, Mark? Is that going to be judgmental, or is that going to be added points for a accurate altitude, or are you sticking right at 2,500?
Yeah, we don't score Gateway.
Right.
Oh, that answers that.
Oh, okay. So we don't get disqualified if we go over by 20 feet or under by 20 feet, kind of thing. It's just a guideline.
Yeah.
But Mark, I do believe they do. Am I correct in that they are eligible for the altitude award?
Sure. Yeah. I guess in their fly sheets they could call a predicted altitude, and yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, I just kind of wondering because the other 2 got 100 feet, 1,000 feet, or 500 feet range to work within, but the Gateway is just at this strange level. I mean, anyway, thank you very much for clarifying that part.
Going to give about 2 more minutes for questions.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
This is Kahia, the team lead at UH Manoa, and we also have the issue of having more than 6 students, as a matter of fact, interested in competing. So about that question earlier, would it be possible if it could be open to everyone? If could be additional spots available beyond the 6?
So with First Nations Launch, our recommended is 4 to 6 team members. We do not have any rules stating you can have that there's a minimum or a maximum number of students. So you can have less, you can have more. You just have to be able to support your team. And where the challenge will become is if you have a team of 10 students, then the funding that you will need if you want all team members to attend the rocket launch.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. So in our statewide competition, a lot of times we're firm on our statewide competition. We have 4 to 6 team members. So we'll often say like you have a core group and then you have shadow members. So those shadow members are often the novice team members who are just learning rocketry, who can they're participating in their learning. They're just not a part of the quote unquote official team. So that might be another option for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, it is 5:15. We are going to wrap up. Our admin team will stay on for a few more minutes just in case there are any additional questions. But we want to thank everybody for attending. Thank you for staying with us that extra 15 minutes. And we just are looking forward to a great year and seeing you all at the webinars and different events throughout the competition season. Thank you again, everybody.